Garry Smith from the Florida Times Union and Jacksonville.com here with Sam Cavares. And Sam, you're the only guy probably in this town who's been to more Players Championships than I have from a media standpoint. I'm sure there's somebody who's been to all 43 of them. But one thing new this year, take a look behind me.
Yeah, this thing's pretty.
Okay.
It's pretty impressive, right?
This is the pathway, the bridge coming in from the public parking lot.
Yeah, that's impressive.
This is done with kind of the same intent as when they rerouted the road to the clubhouse.
Right.
There's a theme park kind of concept here of creating a sense of anticipation, of creating kind of a not a long winding path, but don't hit you with it all at once. And this is the way people are going to come in from the public lot through the Nicholas Gate to the Players Championship. Back over here is going to be, they're close to 17, they're close to 16 green, a little hop over to 15. They can go down 17 obviously to 18. There's a little there's a way they can get to 8. So there's about 4 or 5 holes people can get to. Plus, you're going to have the 17th Tee Challenge presented by the proud partners of the Players Championship, Optum, Morgan Stanley, and Grant Thornton. You're going to have the Merchandise Center up here. Sam, going back to your days at the Greater Jacksonville Open, or when it was at the Sawgrass Country Club, the Players, back then it was dirt parking lots.
Right.
They get muddy if it rained a little bit. What was it coming into the course back then as compared to what the fans are getting now?
You know, Gary, what's happened over the years is that the golf course and the PGA Tour's thought process has changed. Remember, when this was the GJO, it was a big party, but the only people who actually went out and watched golf were people who played golf. Everybody else kind of hung out at the swingers tent or, you know, did that. When TPC started in the 80s here and not across the street, it was kind of the same thing. They wanted the golf course and the competition to be the focus. As we've gone through now the last 35, 36 years, it's morphed into so much more than that. Tiger's brought so many different fans to the sport that they want people to come out here who are interested in not just the golf competition, but all the other kind of accoutrements, you know, the things that are around, like you said, the kids zone, kids an opportunity to play a replica of 17. They want you to buy something. They want you to sit in a grove and drink a beer and get something to eat and have a full kind of immersive fan experience. It was never the case before. You've covered plenty of PGA Tour tournaments. That's one of the funny things too, and you know this, we've talked about this many times. People in North Florida think every tour stop is like this. You know, it's not.
and Matt Rapp, who took over as executive director of this tournament quite a few years ago, I never forget what he told me. You know, this whole issue of is a player's a major. Matt wanted to put that aside. He did not want to do it. He said, we don't want to be like 4 other golf tournaments.
Right.
What he wanted to do was bring the First Coast a version of the Daytona 500, the Indianapolis 500, the Kentucky Derby. He wanted this to be a week-long party. And what they've done is they've taken some of the party venues and they've gotten them in such close proximity to the golf course that you can...
Whoa, there we go. It's
there
windy.
We go.
By the way,
and
it's windy.
We'll talk about that wind later too, folks.
It is windy. There's no question about that.
So you can get that beer, you can get that drink, and you can almost sit there and watch the golf come to you. And I think that the routing, the placement of areas, the trucks on 10 with the food trucks, Taco Lou's on 12, the Wine and Dine on 9. I mean, and the number, the whole gives you an idea of the proximity of those venues to that hole and to the action. So again, this is it is about the golf, but it's also about people on the First Coast coming here, and this is a must-see event. This is a must-do event now. And you know, the campaign they had a couple of years ago, I thought was great. It says, you know, why aren't you here? That was pretty much the whole thing.
You know,
why aren't you here? Whether it was March or May.
The interesting part, Gary, to me as well, is that, you know, the tour itself has had a lot of different thoughts about this golf tournament, from being just a competition to bringing fans out to kind of removing themselves from North Florida and trying to make it a national and international destination, and then realize, you know, that doesn't work. You've got to have the local support. So I don't know if it was Matt's idea or Tim Fincham's idea, but they certainly have engaged everybody once again, like you said, with local vendors and a lot of local advertising to get people out here.
Sam, let's talk a little bit about the menu out there. You can go out here next week at the Players Championship. You can get a gourmet taco. You can get barbecue for 7 Bridges. You can get a lobster roll. You know, back in the day, hot dog and a beer, wasn't it?
That was about it, right? Maybe a hamburger if you could.
Or if you're lucky enough to have one of the clubhouse passes, and you know you get something a little bit. But you know, and I will say that compared to NFL football games, I think the prices are going to be very reasonable.
Absolutely.
And the other thing that I wanted to touch on with this tournament, with these fans, is the fan journeys. There are about 5 or 6 themed journeys here that fans, it's almost like a self-guided tour, and it's one's geared towards foodies, one is geared towards the best place to get selfies, one is geared towards kids, which includes, they've even scoped it out, the best place, the closest place that a kid can get to the players and get a high five when he's walking from one green to the next, is, by the way, it's from 12 green to 13 tee,
right,
is the best place to do that and everything. And there's another one geared towards shopping, where yes, it's going to take you past some golf holes, but it's also going to make sure and take you past the fan shop here and some other venues where you can get a souvenir out here. So you know, this has been it's an event, not a golf tournament
anymore.
All right, Garry Smits, San Cavares. Make sure and start reading about our Players Championship coverage, Florida Times Union, Jacksonville.com on Sunday, this coming Sunday, March the 10th, and all through next week. Thanks a lot.
All right.
Okay. Watch.